your team.
Yeah,
so.
I still remember the game, and I had to report someone.
Was it yourself?
Can I report myself? No.
Can you? I don't even know. I've never tried because I've always.
All right, we're in Infernal Shrines, game number 1, ban pick. Let's see if that Alex Raza. There we go.
It is.
You don't get
Okay.
to see her squashed portrait. I mean, her face.
I'm disappointed every time. Well, I mean, we had to ban her because she showed her chin on air, so can't let that one through the ban phase. But gonna be another first pick Malfurion. I think we saw everything just go exactly the same way as yesterday.
I think Phoenix. A lot of the Korean players were still saying Phoenix is still way too strong. Has to maybe have another nerf or something.
Another nerf. Yeah. We call them. What is it? Patches, updates, one of those two. Balances, yeah. I would also expect to see maybe a Yrel here, second pick. I know yesterday was not actually the biggest Yrel day. It seems like nowadays I'm just seeing Yrel every single pick and ban, but kind of took a little bit of a brief vacation yesterday, but I think we're probably back.
Well, we did have a Cho'Gao game yesterday on this map with Auriel, and it did not really work out for Miro.
Cho'Gao games are like murky games to me. Like, I just try to pretend like they don't happen. But it was actually super exciting to watch.
It was actually super exciting.
Yeah.
And they actually won few team fights. And then all the talents against Cho'Gao just happened to be there. They picked up Leoric and also Hanzo. And going to be similar, but no Phoenix this time. BlossoM really focusing on Shrine control and the DPS before. So they've got a solid solo lane and also the Hanzo.
So that's a very strong pick for the map specifically, but I don't know if maybe that gives just too strong a champion choice here to Tempest. I mean, we all seen them pick the likes of Phoenix and Yrel before, and I know they've both done very well.
It's basically saying you guys can take those too if you like. Phoenix, Yrel, Malfurion, the top 3 picks is happening all the time without the bans. It was always consistent. If you take Phoenix, then the others take Malfurion, Yrel, or they take Yrel, then they take the rest of Malfurion. What's the other one again?
Malfurion,
Phoenix,
Yrel, Phoenix. Oh, okay.
Those 3 all the time happening, but this time it's almost like BlossoM saying, you can take all 3. We are ready for whatever you guys are doing.
Well, so that's a very bold claim to make, right? Because you're playing against Tempest. These guys are like absolutely one of the scariest teams, not only just in Korea, in the world.
And they do.
Did we call it or not?
And they do. So BlossoM took get their second ban and tried to guess what their next picks are going to be. Alex Raza, of course, banned on this map because Dragon Queen is actually so powerful at the right time. And you can just win the Shrine fight because of her Dragon Queen. And that has happened so many times. And Korean teams actually, especially Ballistics, lost so many times against that Dragon Queen from June Tempest Storm back in MSB. So I think all Korean teams learned and really felt that on this map especially, she's really strong, so she kind of has to be banned, or you have to you have your chance to grab her. But I don't think Hyde really likes to play Alex Raza too much.
I mean, we talked about the strength of the heroes that have been drafted. I already used up my 1 C word for the day. But what are the bans going to look like? I think it makes sense to ban Anubarak against Tempest instead of picking it like we saw yesterday. Did not go so well. But you know, that's a ban not used on a very meta pick, and so the benefit of Tempest's lineup is that they're all very strong, very powerful meta picks, but it's also probably the most predictable lineup that you could have asked for BlossoM. Or BlossoM will be
I think this screams for a Uther ban. BlossoM, not just because Sign is an awesome Anubarak player. With Yrel, the slow and the hammer plus some chain CC would just blow one up for sure. Even Sonya, who should be war-winding, there are so many CCs to cancel that. And Anubarak, because you can cocoon the Uther, I think BlossoM is thinking for the support most likely.
See what the last ban is. ETC, okay. Not the Uther that we were talking about. Still takes a lot of the crowd control out of the picture. Tempest
does have information that Hankana or Gondar is going to play tank today. So I think we're having a war between Garrosh and Johanna now. Whoever takes first. The other team takes the second one.
Which do you think that BlossoM would be more, I guess, familiar, comfortable with?
I think Garrosh is okay. Gondar plays a decent amount of Garrosh end of last year. And with the sustain, the front line is pretty strong, Sonya. But they need to have a support that can kind of pair up to lock down the CC. They have Sonya for, I guess, Poison Spear, but not going to really have one locking down for some amount of time with the crowd control. They need to find that with the rest, with the last 3 picks here. 6 seconds.
They're really taking this one down to the wire. I think this is where they will reveal a lot of their ability to deal with very strong picks on the other side. There's the Uther that you talked about being so important that it might have been banned. It wasn't, so it's picked up. And a Diablo. Now, why would you go for that over things like Johanna?
Because Lightning Breath stinks.
It really
I think that's the reason. Like, Irel's got the nose. She's pretty bad against bad smells. The Malfurion's kind of smelly as well.
Okay, excellent. Will be a meta-defining realization there. Final 2 picks coming in for Tempest. They really do have just about anything that they could ask for open. Of course, obviously, aside from, I guess maybe they would have liked, I don't know. I guess they have Phoenix instead of Hanzo.
BlossoM, I think they have everything they wanted, but is this enough to actually give everything up? Malfurion, Phoenix, Irel, those pair are pretty strong, and I think this may be a hammer game for Tempest again, because they do have all the pair up, Phoenix to do damage, but instead they're going to change it up. Maiev doesn't really have the best. They actually have a pretty good win rate, of course, because basically they won every game except for that one game. But I think that one game actually contained Maiev for them.
It did.
On this map,
we check that really fast. But the Muradin as a way to kind of close this out, how do you think that synergizes with the rest of this? Because this isn't just like your straight up Maiev
I think
comp.
it's just for maybe a little bit more CC with the Stonebolt and just to have sustain. And BlossoM, they have the perfect one. I think we're looking for Modern's hero here, and they can just use False Stat, which he did so many times, to counter against Cage. If it's Cage, you can still go for Disc.
That's right. We got a chance to see Disc last week, and it looked pretty fantastic. So could actually kind of throw in a little bit of a wrench into the works there. But for BlossoM, 9 seconds left. Very careful choices today. So I like to see the thought process there. What is... Oh, Medivh.
Because Uther... Okay. I'm getting it all together in my head right now.
Hit me with the G-Clef.
Force of Will, protection. They need that secondary source because Uther can get burst heal, but they do have a lot of target to heal. And that's why I lost the Praxis, because I was a cooldown and Uther didn't really heal me because he was busy healing the tank first. So I never got the heal.
Okay,
so
G-Clef, let it go.
So that's why they have Medivh.
All right. If only your quick match teams learned to pick Medivh. Wishful thinking, right? Okay, well, either way, those are our heroes. I'm just going to take another opportunity to say the H word there. And it's going to send us into our first game. Now, going into this, honestly, I'm definitely going to side with Tempest here, but I would love nothing more than to see BlossoM take at least one game. Is that going to be this one, G-Clef?
And this was actually the comp. We saw some upsets, like crazy upsets happen. Sonya, Diablo, the charging in. And if they fail, they can always just portal out, get that protection from Medivh.
Right.
This team comp actually excelled so much back in phase number 1. They're bringing it back once again, having great control, but they lack the sustain, so they have to make something happen or have a perfect escape. If neither of those really happen too many times, I think Tempest will have an upper hand most of the time.
Just showing Battleground stats right there. Of course, it's been a good season for Tempest, so that in general kind of inflates what their experience looks like. But the way that things are going to work out as far as lane assignments are going to be a lot different than when you actually do start grouping up. So we'll see how that looks like for Dami. He's actually going to go ahead and especially blocking down Sonya up top. Oh, there's Diablo way up front. Honkono, though, I do actually think he is coming into his role, kind of taking over that tank role very well.
And Modern's taking the Hanzo role in this case. It was possible for him to actually flex into False that last pick, but in this case they have Medivh now. So a little bit of a role swap.
Slightly different
in the team.
But at least the way that the lanes are going to work out early should be fairly even. I do want to see, and this is always kind of my thought anytime a roster includes Medivh, like you do have to make use out of having her or him not actually corporeal all the time. So sometimes, at least when I play with Medivhs in my games, it doesn't seems like we're kind of 4v5ing, but not the case here. Gondar joining Mary Day down bottom.
And I heard from the pros that Morden actually is stepping on top of the portal, making it really hard for the opponent to actually click onto the portal because he's a dwarf. He's short, so he kind of fits right onto the door, so you can't really click through him too well. I guess that's the logic, but Korean players were saying that just as a joke. I think that's actually somewhat of an effective tool against Medivh.
The Hodor strat. You gotta hold it down so that nobody can get through. I know sometimes it is hard to click on when there's a bunch of heroes right on top of it, but either way, let's actually pay attention to the way that the camps are being taken. First one claimed by Tempest on the bottom. And so they've already taken 2 of theirs. So why do you think BlossoM are kind of holding off on that yet?
In terms of wave clear, they lack a little bit, and they did have a rotation where they did have a late rotation where they looked for the gank possibly in the mid lane, and they kind of failed. They had the portal out, and they had a worse of a trade in damage. I think that's basically the reason why they got the late start on their camps. Now Hanzo post 4, starting to camp on top a little bit with the help of Sonya.
Bottom Shrine up in a few, and so that's going to signal, hey, maybe it's about time to head back down there. But for Tempest, they've taken all of their camps at this point. Their lanes are going very, very well. They did get that better trade like you were talking about, G-Clef. So, I mean, they are setting things up. And, this is something I always notice about Tempest. They always just pile on little thing by little thing, and it all seems to add up to a big win.
Project on Honkono, and not the perfect place for Honkono to take the portal, but still has a Medivh as a protection already, so that's not too bad for him.
Here's that first shrine. Of course, got to give it to Tempest early on. We'll see how BlossoM want to go for the retake, if they can even contest this. Here comes Honkono flipping Phoenix in. Good is okay. I don't think he's too worried right now. So BlossoM really need to find someone to pressure. Currently, I think lowest health for Tempest is Dami, but he's totally okay back in the back.
Yeah. Quite a big of a number difference. Almost 18 now. And BlossoM has to back out because most of the units from Tempest, they were all gathered together and hide on the portal whenever it spawns. It's just automatic entangling route right on there, because once they come in, they will be rooted, so they can't really charge into any units. That's going to be the main problem, as Hyde will be on top of the portal placement, saving good, and also lockdowns Maiev when he dives in. BlossoM, so far, they're not really showing their power, and the reason why they were actually giving up all those 3. But there is a potential, so we'll see a little bit more.
Oh, I was worried there for Gondar. No dwarf to block that passage, so he's safe. Sonya and Yrel actually both came down during that shrine, but now Sonya is actually the only one making this rotation, so that could actually turn things around if they do decide to call her down from mid. But soaking going pretty well for BlossoM, as they are just now. Oh, I thought they were going to be tied for 7 there for a little bit longer, but full level lead for Tempest.
Yep. That's not, I guess, not too bad for BlossoM, but their goal is to hit 10 and have some massive ceiling, a ley line, and get everyone together for that APOC combo. It may actually not be an APOC combo, we'll see. Very likely it may just be. Didn't really see APOC too much after the change on Diablo. But because we are relying on so much CC combo in this case, with Sonya, I think BlossoM may just go with the old combo now.
Right, and either way, good ley lines are still something that BlossoM will be able to pile on top of. So keep an eye on that one as our teams approach 10, but we're not going to get there just
now,
yet.
That's one. We know that Dami is really sick, and never mind. It is actually a lockdown. Okay. Dami's still in the chat. I was wondering, and I actually asked our referee how many timeouts can you actually have within a match.
What was the answer?
And it says up to 3.
Oh.
Pause, each one having maximum of 10 minutes. If it's more, they may have to forfeit the game and move on to the next game. So that's the rule. Yeah, per game. Maybe not per timeout. 10 minutes max.
So 10 minutes per timeout. You can have 3 timeouts
in
per
a match.
game.
Not per game, in a match.
Per
total
per
best
best
of
of
5.
series.
Yeah, best
Okay,
of
okay.
5.
That
You can
makes
have-
more sense. Otherwise, we could just have very long days.
Yep, I mean, I asked that just in case Tommy is suddenly super sick and he has to go to the restroom or something, or he has to make a call or take some medicine. I asked him just in case, but seems like he's fine. And he's actually playing okay. Just losing trade against Irel, which happens all the time, but against any hero, because Irel's so powerful right now.
Absolutely. Yrel not only just a powerful hero in 1v1s and trades. I feel like now that I'm starting to get a little bit of a better hand on how her trait works, the ability to use all of her skills is at max charge is just so incredibly powerful. I still, taking some practice there, but it is definitely something that you have to master that makes her effective in team fights.
And Gono says, "What's up? What's happening there?"
What?
Aha, got it.
Ah, okay. They paused the game. I see.
Pretty cool keyboard. From what I know, it's from their sponsor merchandise.
Ah.
So they can get that keyboard. I'm talking about the blue, of course, the blue-pink keyboard.
Oh, I think the black keyboard is just like really. I've never seen that.
It's a
before.
standard.
Yeah.
It's a standard.
Guess so.
White keyboards are always better.
What color is
just
your
putting it
keyboard,
down?
G-Clef?
White.
Ah.
That's 10 keyless. I don't need those number pads.
You're not typing in all of your accounting on your gaming keyboard?
I have my heroes. I guess the keyboard pad, the long mouse pad, below my keyboard. It has the best Still Series QCK mask below my mouse. And
all right.
We're in game.
Back at it, G-Clef. I know everybody really wants to hear more about your keyboard, but for now, we actually have to talk about some heroes of the storm.
I'll keep an eye on how well Very Day actually focuses on the targets. His pre-cleanses were great last time. His individual play was great, but in terms of his Rehgar play, sometimes he was actually a step forward as a support compared to the other 4. And that's, I think, the reason why they have been dropping a lot of the games, including that Rehgar Dragon Char game I'm talking about.
Right. I will say it's been good to see him step up, especially, Rehgar is not going to be first picked or banned every game, but to perform so well on a pick that is not extremely high priority is just so fantastic. So we don't have that going on here, but I think just to pile on what you were saying, he's been performing very, very well.
Okay, it is Disc. Locked it in. Onkano also has to be careful. Pretend. Not going to commit. Just pressuring in because they hold that. And with the pressure, they can just force in. They have the Muradin and the sustain, so they will just take this fort basically for free because they have a massive advantage now.
Yeah, absolutely massive. Not only that, but BlossoM's still not 10. So a huge lead for Tempest that they're leveraging to take down yet another fort.
And in the meantime, Sonya versus Irel. Sonya was actually winning the trade just for 20 seconds or so. Got that Master's Touch finished now already for Gondar. So it's not gonna be losing those stack, and they have 10. Lightning Breath, okay. Another PP. Pause, please.
Okay.
Or pretty, please. Or pretty pause.
So going for Lightning Breath, I know back in the day, APOC is just like such an iconic move to watch, but I don't know, like you said, Lightning Breath stings.
It stinks because I play lots of Diablo 2, and doesn't really do too much damage after you get...
play lots of Diablo 2 or Diablo as well? Both?
Diablo 2. Not too much of Diablo in Heroes. He is pretty hard. I charge in, and... Oh yes, I don't have to continue the story. That's where it ends.
That's where it ends. I'm so glad we're getting so many iconic stories from G-Clef and his Hero League experiences.
It's been great.
I would tell mine, but they end just about where yours did. So, I think we all know how that goes.
Yeah, if you guys are a fan of Diablo 2, Act 4, you get into that Star Circle, and on Blaze, of course, and just try to get that Diablo down all the time, look for the loot. But that Lightning Breath actually doesn't really do too much damage once you get passed through some items. So that was what it was before the rework onto Diablo. Now, there's so much damage and you're unstoppable. And unstoppable doesn't make you invincible. Some people actually forget that you're not invincible. Just says, and then dies.
Well, there's that unstoppable, by the way. It's a little bit of a meme, but especially for Diablo. Like, you are just really stationary there. And like, okay, unstoppable might make you think that you can't be stopped, but you absolutely can if you just straight up die. So not the cure-all that it might seem like, but it's cool to see that come through here. I guess it's still going to be kind of a good combo with Leyline if that does come out, but not quite as explosive.
Oh yes,
as they thought.
Merryday, not Merryday. Merryday's on the camera. Medieval's actually holding into a 10. I think it's going to be mainline, may not. It may just be the Polybomb because we don't have the APOC. We'll see a little bit about that, how that actually changed together with the crowd control. Still having some PP issues with the... I had no confirmation by the production, but I'm guessing it has to be some frame drops. Maybe.
So that means that we might actually take a break to kind of switch things out, but barring any of that, that does mean that we are going to be having a little bit longer to wait and find out exactly
Did get the
what's
update?
going on.
Lockdown's computer stopped. Froze.
Ooh.
Shout out to Microsoft.
Hey! No, we run HGC on Linux. It's an all Ubuntu league.
Back to DOS.
Okay.
Days. You just go in, type heroesofthestorm.exe, enter, and then we go into Battle.net first, right?
Many days.
How do we log in?
Right.
I don't even know how to do the.
Well, first you have to plug in your your 52K modem.
Oh, and you can't make a phone call. Right?
That's right. No
yes.
phones allowed. My parents used to get very upset when I had to use the internet connection.
Man. We're back in game.
That's right.
Leyline Seal, of course. Locked in, Sonya. Having to focus on to good. Okay, the pair up didn't really connect together. Lockdown getting a massive tether.
Oh no, there's that lightning breath. Only momentary before stop.
And an NA arrow onto the side, and that's not going to be too powerful. Not going to be a big kill, but as Modern is focused by actually Konkono coming in for the save, was buying enough time in the front line. So BlossoM not really losing any of their member so far.
Dami with a huge Avenging Wrath in, getting the fully charged stun from his hammer swings. And that's actually what kind of zoned most of BlossoM actually out of that fight. Oh,
Salvo catching everyone, but they buy time, but they're so low.
No, I think this is going to go from bad to worse here. Lockdown cleaning up on the other side, but thankfully, Modern does allow the rest of BlossoM to escape, even though he does not escape himself.
That is the thing. Later, I think post 13, have multiple Wheel of Protection with the Circle of Protection later. And if at perfect timing, you can actually block the damage from Salvo. But before that happens, before 13, it's going to be really tough. With the ley line, you can't really stop the Salvo once you're locked into the target. Doesn't matter how far away you are, you will still get the damage.
Yep, one of the biggest benefits of Salvo. Now seeing, Lockdown actually pulling Honkono forward as the Punisher goes ahead, jumps in. I don't think there's a realistic chance for BlossoM to defend here, will they?
Yeah, they will just do the fine then. Oh, another arrow. They do dive in. A great entangle by Highs, but they can't really dive in too much. Who's alone, trying to focus onto Lockdown. Just actually goes down, so they will focus. And Ice Block, the spotting time. Hyde will be the second one. They're on retreat now. And
we're finally getting a chance to see that combo, the Lightning Breath ley line. It's just working out so well. The cleanup here, and I take back everything I ever said. Was that just an overextension by Tempest, or what was the big...
I think they did get a little bit greedy. They're just underestimating what a single portal can actually do. And they thought Entangling Root was just enough, but Lockdown actually went in instead of retreating out with the teammate. I think he was having some positional mistake at that moment. Didn't really get caught. He had some chances to escape, but not really having that time. I think Tempest, the rest of the 4 member, they could have just retreated and just have on sacrifice instead, but they decided to somewhat team fight.
Either way, it's an incredible fight for BlossoM. They've really come back and make up a lot of the deficit that they had before. Still a level behind, still down in objectives, but they are doing a great job. Udami down to half health, shouldn't actually matter all that much. Going to continue forward.
And before the hammered, and you can't even go in because of that entangle right after he gets into the portal. Perfect timing, nicely done by Honkono. A little bit, I would say, a little bit early placement of the entangling root as well, because he knew that hammer was coming soon from Irel. And I think maybe just missing a Murden at that moment was a little bit painful. With an just one more CC, I think they could have got the kill onto Honkono, but that gives another chance for BlossoM to actually catch into the gate.
That's right, BlossoM did lose their lower camp, so they're trying to come over and pressure Tempest, but I don't know exactly what to make out of that positioning. They are very far forward. They're going to try it again. Sign in the back line. Day might just die here. Salvo is actually huge, but so is Lightning Breath, and it'll take out Phoenix in the end, though. I think BlossoM do have just barely enough to stay alive.
No support, but protected by the way. Gondar is actually did put out some great amount of damage. Can't really get the kill. Was trying to, he tried to get the kill on the lockdown. Not going to succeed on it. The Wrath and gets the kill. Yeah, that's because they actually use the portal to go in, and the moment you get too much damage when you try to go in, you can't really escape once you're pushed away from the portal. Then that was done by Tempest in a way that they can't really retreat into the portal. Nicely done.
Yeah, when you use that as an engaged mechanic, it's not going to be there for you if things do turn around. They definitely did there for BlossoM. Started out pretty well, but Tempest able to finish that off in the end, and that sets them up now with a 2-level lead. They're at 16 first, a huge break point, and I think things are just going to keep looking better for Tempest unless they have another overextension like we saw earlier.
Look again, I wish you get to get the replay of what happened last time, because I think it's going to happen again when the good is basically the target for BlossoM to get that Phoenix, grab onto him, get that kill before any salvos come out.
I mean, it was a great pick, right? But I don't know if BlossoM are just overcommitting to try to take down. I think mostly it's good just because Phoenix is pretty squishy, but they have the coordination to make that happen, but the follow-up just isn't there.
The entire team of Tempest, they actually gather around good, so it's actually hard to just pinpoint, even have a spear on Phoenix. So a single spear actually does a decent amount, gets most of the shield out with just one skill. And Phoenix will go down very quickly right after, so they gather around Phoenix, make sure he doesn't really get damaged by those skill shots. It's nicely done by Tempest, but mostly by lockdown and sign there.
That pushing forward, Punisher going in. Honkono is so good at being up in the front, but sometimes a little bit too far. Nice way to try to buffer time, but oh, Wiz. To back up. Look at Sign, man.
Already having pre-cleanse?
Doesn't afraid of anything, and as the keep drops lower, I mean, BlossoM are either going to have to go right now, or they're just going to lose the keep and the fight as well.
They want to chase. Gondar positioning.
Oh, they are looking
Sign,
for
though,
it.
onto Muradin.
I mean, that's just going to take a while.
He's pretty tanky. He still has Avatar.
Toss out, and yeah, this is Avatar. I'm getting so used to seeing Haymaker games that I just automatically assume that that's it. But yeah, he was going to have that as an escape mechanic.
Of course, Muradin wasn't 100% focused by all 5 men. But still just understanding. Seems like they are in a rush. Honkono trying to target onto Dami this time.
Yeah, Dami the focus, but should be okay. I feel like, I mean, Drill is just pretty hard to kill. I know Wolf was talking about maybe the potential eventually for her to be built as like a tank because she just has so much survivability.
Sometimes you actually just ignore Irel, and even the backline just dive in together to get the kill. And they do have portal, so they can also escape. I think that's another way Genji was actually. Oh, look at Lockdown's position. Did not spot him, so he's coming around, but Medivh is there.
It's going to be a huge flank.
They are in the choke point altogether.
Surrounded. A nice escape by Hanzo, so Modder's going to be back in the back with Sign jumping right on top. Honkono very, very low. The salvo is targeted. How much damage can it do? There it comes out, and this is just going to be the beginning of the end right now. Honkono is about to drop, and even Gondar. Is he going to stick around enough to save his teammates?
We will see. There's a heal from Mary Day. Honkono does get the HP back with the stomp and gets the portal out, so wasn't as bad as what we thought it actually would be. The Hanzo who actually escaped, got the G-Shield, was the only one who died because he was the only one away from the portal.
Kind of ironic how that worked out. It's like, we're going to save your life, but also you're the only one that's going to die. Either way, BlossoM do escape, but you know, at what cost, right? They're still sacrificing objectives. It's about to hit 20 for Tempest, and I think at that point, things are just going to look even worse. They've already lost one keep, so Sonya has to keep going up top, clear the catapults, and rejoin the rest of her team.
It is actually not the circle of protection as well. It is actually enduring will. Get less cooldown if you take enough damage onto the protection with the force of will. So I think they're really concerned about the saving a few targets instead of having everyone together. Once everyone is together, they would be just tether it all together, get that massive Phoenix damage as well. So I think it's also not bad of a choice.
It was a sick flank to start that team fight off. So Tempest are still not just playing the macro very, very well, but when it comes to team fighting, they are just playing it better this game. So for BlossoM, a lot needs to change. I would say that they've shown signs of life, catching Tempest out of position, not letting them just get away with making mistakes for free. But I don't know if it's a little bit too late here. Tempest, especially once they hit 20, are just going to be unstoppable.
Yep, they seem very on point today. BlossoM gave that up, not really landing. This is actually pretty, not too old, but it has been done, and Tempest had the answer. Diving in first. Higher number for BlossoM. Sign diving into the back line alone. Gets the cleanse onto Medivh, so Honkono tries to dive in again, but entangling roots, stopping that delay.
What's going to get it out of there? Honkono is in danger, but so is
tossed.
Wiz. Look at Wiz, though. He is caught between a rock and a hard place, gets Avenging Wrath. I think it's Phoenix that picks up the last hit, but once again, it's not a total tragedy. As the rest of BlossoM are still alive. I mean, Merryday maybe not for so much longer, but he is delaying and stalling, which should give BlossoM enough time to clear off their core.
Yeah, they're trying to mess up with the respawn. This is actually a great way to deal with, because you need to buy time. You need to get those defenders on the shrine anyhow. So mess up with the respawn. Merryday might as well just go dive and die to the turrets. I think that's actually a better way right now. He's just having fun. Well met.
No, I think he actually does need to die as quickly as possible, which is an odd sentence to say. But yeah, staggering respawns, bringing the Overwatch strats to HOTS, but it's very effective. And now this is just going to be a power play for Tempest for the next 45 seconds.
Possibly want to finish the game. They hit 20, 40 seconds on Uther. Punisher is frozen one, so not as powerful as Arcane, but still with these manpower, I think it's totally doable. Still 30 seconds. Punisher now onto the keep. Actually gets a good draw to the mid fountain now.
Honkono doing his job up at the front line with Wiz. They've been very effective, but don't seem to last long enough. See how long Honkono can still perform that role, because they're just losing keeps right and left. Punisher goes in, starts to fight there as Wiz once again down to half, and Honkono even lower. This is just such an exercise in futility. BlossoM trying to stop Tempest, who are just not stopped by really anything.
Only getting the shield. So Merryday is back, has a D-shield. Gets one down now. No lacking stacks D-shield onto Sonya.
This is a fantastic lightning breath. Almost just single-handedly took out Good, but he's still going to get back and get a nice salvo off. Urel with the kill there onto Medivh, and one after another. BlossoM are just dropping like flies. We just see Merryday drop down here. Dami going a little bit deep for that. Honkono actually back and ready to go for round two. But I don't think this game is realistically going to last much longer, with Lockdown getting here and finally putting their focus on the core. This will go down, and this will be Tempest eventually taking game number one.
Down, and it goes down with the kill onto Maya. Finally, they get their kill, 7 to 14 kills. And BlossoM in the game one with the draft that it's kind of old, which is kind of old. It was possible that they could have actually made it work a little bit better with the coordination, but Hyde just having answers. Even a lot of us watching knows the answer, because we already know Malfurion was picked. So you had to have something else, some other source that was going to go through the entangling route, which is very hard, not just the portal. I think they had a strategy going to the map here, but it was outdated. Phase 1 Part 2 strategy with Diablo, Sonya, Medivh already been solved up by Tempest, and they're up 1-0.
That is true. It's a strategy that we did see work several times. Lots of saves, Gondar really helping the rest of his team out. Even that one sick Leyline Lightning Breath combo was like, okay, well, this is what it's supposed to do. And it wins them one fight. And like you said, Tempest just totally business as usual, figured it out, and they might have got caught out maybe once or twice, but in the end, they do still take the game down in dominant fashion.
Medivh actually did the most damage, completing the quest around level 10 as well.
not something you see all the time. So at least Gondar was putting in work that game. I want to say that we didn't get a chance to see Wiz a whole lot just because he was solo laning top versus Jurel. So it's like, well, you're probably not just going to watch that lane. It's not the most exciting.
I think they... We'll talk. I will actually ask Gondar after after the entire match.
Okay.
The reason why he actually went for not going for the circle of protection at 13, I think that was okay. If they wanted to 5-man dive in, get the circle of protection with the explosion damage, that has been nerfed many times, but still very powerful tool if you want to dive in, get the kill. And I think Good just did a pretty good job, and the entire team of Tempest keeping him alive all the time. And Lockdown looking for his chance, not really dying too many times. Uther in this case was okay with the protection of Medivh, but once you can't really make your own plan A, and plan B is supposed to follow from plan A. So your plan B,
no matter how
never
good
really
your
got
plan
to
B is, it doesn't matter if you never get there. So sometimes even plan